Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm doing today is I am kind of doing some upgrades and cleaning out a Dell OptiPlex 745. You can see it in here. If you can see in there, I've already took the block, the shroud, off of where the CPU goes, and took apart the case. You'll see here's the shroud and heat sink. And you see I've already took an old toothbrush and started to clean that off. Now I have an air compressor outside. Now the reason why you want to use an air compressor is simple. Is because the air that comes in, the cans are very expensive, and you hardly get any air at all. Now I set the air compressor. Okay, here. I set the air compressor to just a little bit over 100 pounds of PSI. That's pressure per square inch. If you can see that there. And you can keep reusing that over and over. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this nozzle, pull that back, and I'm going to use the attachment that lets you blow air straight out. That's this one right here. I'm going to hook that here.
That scared the cat very
bad. And it just hooks right into there.
You scared the cat very bad.
And this is what I'm going to do, guys. It goes like this. Now I have to turn this back on to build up some more air until I get the whole computer cleaned. Like here's the front of the computer, and you can see it's going to need some cleaning there. Here it goes. It's going to be loud. Okay guys, another thing I'm going to tell you about is the graphics card or video card. It's basically the same thing. If yours isn't integrated, then it's its own card. It's not built on. It's not proprietary. It's not integrated. And what happens is these have something called a GPU, a graphics processing unit. Basically, its own processor, which is underneath this heatsink and shield, and it needs to be cleaned too. Okay, because we don't want your video card to overheat, because that's what gives you the video that's on your computer screen. And especially if you're a gamer, it's going to be working overtime. So we're going to clean out the computer a little bit more. Putting this on the Okay, now as you can see here, what you can do and what you have to do is, you can see right in here I've took out the chassis fan, and the whole purpose of this, I'll explain it really quick, is for it to suck air in to cool this down, and then it sucks the air goes out of the back. It's kind of like a ventilation system. And this heat sink right here sits on top of the CPU, and this copper is the conductor, and it absorbs the heat into this aluminum, and the shroud keeps the heat in, so it pulls the air in, and the heat is on this aluminum core, which is called a heat sink. Then it pushes it back into the ventilation system and goes out the back. Now what happens over a period of time is the fan, this chassis fan here, it gets, and this is after I cleaned it some, there you go, you can kind of get a good perspective of that. It gets dust and dirt and everything in there, and they must be cleaned out. And so does the motherboard. It's kind of like a greenhouse effect. It'll trap this heat in there, and heat is what kills when it comes to electronics. So you have to keep the ventilation system, as I'll call it, you have to keep that flowing and good so that your electronics will last longer. Now on this machine, what I'm doing is doing an upgrade. I've already got the memory cards in, and like I said, use an air compressor so you'll save money. But watch right here. Now I'll have to repeat this process about 4 to 5 times.
Why are you pushing all that?
And the other times I'm going to be using just an old disposed of, or one that nobody uses, a toothbrush with soft bristles, and I'm going to be going across there and cleaning out the insides, and I'm going to repeat the process with the air compressor 4 to 5 times. I'm also going to be sure to get inside the power supply here, because there's also a fan in there, and that's where a lot of dust and dirt can build up in there too, and you don't want that to go out. So I'm going to go ahead and pause right here so I can turn on the air compressor so you guys don't have to hear it. Sounds like kind of like 3 trains going on a train track.